I'm Salvador Ros from UNED. This is a Spanish distance university, and I work in the Department of Communication and Control Systems.
What did you study in college?
Me?
Yes.
Oh,
what is your? We would like to know what is your educational background.
Oh, it's a nice question because I studied physics, and I have a specialization in computer science. I teach computer science, and my PhD is in engineering, so it's like Leonardo or something like that. Yes, I'm a person who has studied a lot. And now we are working with digital humanities.
In what sense is it different for you working with humanists than with computational scientists?
It's a good question. I think we have different ways to think about the world. So sometimes it's challenging because it's really, for me, it's really difficult to work with people who is from humanities. They think sometimes, in my experience, all is possible. And in computer science, maybe it's possible, but it's very difficult. So this is a problem. And also, sometimes there is a lack of knowledge, but it's the same for me. I don't understand well what the concept they are talking to me, and they don't understand what I'm trying to explain to them. So you have to be patient. You have to talk a lot, to exchange ideas, and to try to understand the other.
Do you think that humanities students these days, for instance, are learning the skills that they need for this type of work in Spanish universities?
I asked this question to my colleagues from the humanities fields, and they told me no, they have no enough skills, because in Spain the design of the degrees was made maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and the process to change is really difficult. Also, we detect a lack of training. If the teacher staff has not trained in this area, it's really difficult that we change the design of the degrees. It's true that, for example, in Spain, I think that there is no degrees in digital humanities. But there are some masters on digital humanities, but only in 3 universities. There's only 3 universities, 3 masters, official masters. What we have is seminars, workshops, courses, but just about 1 day, 1 week, summer schools. This kind of teaching, yes, we have, but no degrees, and just only 3 official master's degrees.
What are the 3 universities at which you can get master's degree in digital humanities?
There are 3 universities that has master's degree in digital humanities. One is Pablo de la Vide in Sevilla, another one is Universidad de Salamanca, and the other one is the Universidad of Castilla-La Mancha.
But in a way, I think that's also not a situation that's unique only to Spain, because a lot of teaching that happens in digital humanities happens in workshop settings, in summer schools and places like that, because in a way I feel that's sometimes even more useful, or not useful, but more efficient, because when you go to a workshop, you set a certain amount of time, a week or 2 weeks, depending on to working on something hands-on. And sometimes in traditional university curricula, it's actually hard to sustain that kind of work.
At the end, I think the problem is training of the teacher staff, and that we have to build a new methodology for research in humanities using the new tools. Because at the end, digital humanities means make the things that usually is made in humanities, but with computers. So it's only to change the methodology. And now we have tools, powerful tools. It's the idea, no? I can count words very fast, I can make a lot of things very fast. But at the end, it's the same as maybe 20 years ago. So the only thing that we have to do is change the mind and say, okay, now the research process in humanities involves the know of computer science, and then join it.
True, but also I think what you're saying, it stresses the importance of building also, it seems to me, building also a humanities theory around computational methods, because it's one thing to run the tools and, you know, do concordances, etc. And then it's an entirely different thing to actually interpret the data and theorize the results.
Yeah.
And I think what you point out is very interesting, that in this split between kind of informal and formal education, or workshops and training courses, maybe these things don't get connected all the time. You know, theory and practice.
Yes, I think that this is the point. We need that the students and the teacher staff of humanities subject use the computer science like the pencil. This is the idea. It's nothing else. And then if the teacher staff use the computer like a pencil, when they are in class, the students use the computers as a pencil. It's very easy. But you have it's a change of mind.
What do you think are the maybe the specific skills that students should learn these days that are essential for doing computational research in the humanities?
They need to know the basic concept of programming language, because they have to use R, maybe Python, or I don't know, any language that they have to use. The programs that they use, at the end, they use languages, computer languages. So they need to know at least the basic concept of programming. And after that, specific knowledge about the subject, for example, target languages, HTML, XML, this kind of languages that let them to tag the documents.
Research infrastructures are mainly about research, so there are for researchers. Yet there is this question about what it is that research infrastructures themselves can or should do in terms of training and education. What do you think is the role of training and education for a research infrastructure such as DARIAH?
Okay, first of all, I think that the first question that we have to answer is what is infrastructure? Because I think we understand different things we are talking about infrastructure. If infrastructure is a virtual research environment to use, then what they need is training in the environment and in the tools. Just only that. It's like use Word, it's the same. I need to use my tool. So I need training in my tool. If infrastructure is another thing, I mean computers, clusters, and these kind of things, then I think that we need another layer over this to cover the problem. Sometimes in our group, someone say, okay, there is a fantastic tool that make that. Oh, interesting. But the next day, another tool. And the next day, 1,000 tools more. And all are fantastic tools. And in my opinion, probably all are fantastic, but the main point is, for what? For what? Because we need to know for what is each tool. and then select the best tools. This kind of training is very important, and I think that the best practice in this area is a good point for the research to use it.
But do you think that there is a specific role that DARIAH could play in this respect, in terms of recommending best practices and recommending tools for certain things?
Definitely. I think that DARIAH, for example, can write a white book about tools. At the end, what is happening, I think, in this kind of groups of interdisciplinary people is that the computer science people is trying everything, because the people from digital humanities want to know what they do. So one point for DARIAH will be a white book about this kind of things. So for example, I don't know, in the research process, give some advices about the tools that they are needing in this process, and if they have knowledge of these tools, give some information to the research about how to use the tools, how to implement the tools. I mean, how to put in production the tools.
It's very interesting what you're saying, because on the one hand, it's natural to be excited as a humanist about tools, and you want to use them all, etc. But I think what I'm also hearing from you is that we shouldn't necessarily be driven by tools, but by our research questions, and then finding the right tools for that, rather than maybe necessarily using every tool out there, because it's right. And to be able to do that, then we need to have a much clearer idea about what each tool does.
I think that in this point, DARIAH has a role, a very important role, because if we understand infrastructure as a virtual research that has these tools inside, then the research, what have to do is to use these tools and not to implement again. So the teams, the research teams, when they have to write the proposal of a project, they know that they have the infrastructure here, and they can think just what to do with whatever in this infrastructure.